and Arthur. So yeah, I guess basically just to provide an opening comment about yourself and your experience with CA, how long you've been a dealer, how long you've been with CA, how many pools you've closed, that kind of thing.
I'm Arthur McCoy. I own a company called McCoy Funding Group, which we have Real McCoy Auto Sales. So I own my own dealership, and I work for Mercedes South as a manager. I've been with Credit Acceptance total for about 5 years. I've closed about 3 pools, made a lot of money with the Credit Acceptance program, and it's just been a wonderful, wonderful experience. I believe that any dealership that does not have this program, does not use the tools that they give you, is retarded. I really believe
Thank you. And next we have David Prince of West Georgia.
Yes, ma'am. John and I are business partners in the company, and John started the company back in '09. I came along in '10, and we've grown it to where we've got it to today. And we took on Credit Acceptance, I guess, back in 2010, October. We've since closed 2 and on the verge of closing a 3rd pool, with you guys. So John and I see the importance of what the program can bring you, not only up front, but down the road as well. And that's what we're looking for, is that future investment.
Thank you. And then John?
John Barker. I was a franchise guy up until 2008, and then started my own company with West Georgia Auto Brokers. And we used Credit Acceptance in the franchise setting, and with some success, somewhat limited success, but I saw the potential for it. So when we switched over to an independent, it wasn't long before we brought on Credit Acceptance, and since then it's been a great.
I'm sorry, we don't have your picture up there.
No, that's on purpose. I'm Beth Bett, and I actually joined Credit Acceptance as a market area manager back in December. So last year's meeting, I was actually amongst all of you guys as a dealer for Sarah Toyota. I'm taking place as Sammy. Sarah Toyota started Credit Acceptance back in 2007 and actually went down to a 6-rated dealer. First, I think 2 pools they did after the recession hit. They became successful. I was there 4 years, did 11 pools with them, and they're a 1-rated dealer, and they love it, and they're opening up a CA lot shortly.
Oh, they're opening a separate CA lot?
They had an auction building that has a large lot on it. They're going to make only secondary, so it's going to be their CAC lot.
Anita?
I'm Anita Green. I'm Nissan of Union City. I've been there 2 years. I'm going on my 3rd year there. They've had Credit Acceptance there for a while. And I'll admit I'm not a 1-rated dealer right now, but we're working on that. We've got a lot of challenges that we're trying to overcome. I've worked with franchise groups and independent dealers, and there's a lot of struggles with franchise groups, but we work with trying to get a lot of deals done. We're in our 5th pool. We've got 2 of them that are actually closed. So we're working on it.
Very good. And Heath, I apologize, we don't have a screen for you.
Nate Heath, Bell from Raycom in Lincoln, actually out of Alabama, up here from Huntsville. We've been a CA dealer since 2000. I've been with them since '01, so I've been there 13 years. Started off just kind of messing with it a little bit. It was a little different back then. But since about '04, '05, we got really involved in the program. Since then, we've closed 14 books. So it's been a great addition to the dealership. The way our owner looks at it, he looks at it as we've got a Lincoln franchise. He looks at CAC as a franchise. So it's, he's bought into it. He likes it. He sees the benefits from the monthly checks we get every month. So the best thing to do is just work hard at it, and it's going to be successful.
How many pools?
14.
Well, I'm going to ask a question, and anyone who wants to kind of jump in and answer, or if you just want to go down the line and answer. We compiled a list of questions that everyone was interested in. What inventory works best on the CA program at your dealership, and why?
Anybody or everybody?
Anybody, everybody, yeah.
Vehicles that you pay $7,500, they're about 4, retail for 12. that works best with credit acceptance for me. The advances are good, the contracts are sizable, and that's what's our area seems to be looking for.
I think for us, it's cars that are kind of difficult to determine the value of, so maybe later model, higher mile, sometimes even older, low mile cars, but something that is out of the norm and maybe not easy to quantify. So if you had an 09 Impala, everybody knows what that's worth because there's 300 of them up and down the street. But if you've got something a little bit off, it makes it difficult for someone to compare that. Something with equipment that, isn't a rental car. From our experience, whether or not they fall in love with that piece of merchandise is the single biggest determining factor of what it is, of what their success is and what they put out.
Right.
And, we tend to find, of course, we're dealing with luxury cars, but mostly luxury cars in that under 20, preferably under $15,000 retail range, seem to work really well.
That works very well.
And stuff that you can warranty, which, by the way, is a loophole if you're carrying that kind of stuff. You have to be careful that possibly you could warranty a S430 and not an S500 because 500s are eliminated. So if you focus in on those little profit areas with credit acceptance and you hone in on that, you'll find niches sometimes for stuff that works better.
And you carry cars, I think, that fit your market area. In other words, if we were to try to take the same thing and do it up in Dallas, for instance, it would have to totally carry a different inventory up there than we would here. But just so happens where we are in Douglasville, Georgia, we happen to be in the right location, and we found out what that desire is, and we make the inventory fit, and I think that's true no matter where you are. Just because it's working for us may not work for you if you're in somewhere else. So it's something you want to be aware of, and don't just assume that it's, every inventory is going to work in every situation.
For Sarah, it was really every car. When we had that $3,000 to $6,000 ACV of a car, we'd sell it the day we got it. Couldn't keep them in inventory. But our average contract size was $27,000. We got in the niche of doing new cars, and our biggest used car department sold cars were rental cars. And that just worked best for the area we were in. So it was a wide range of cars.
How many new cars did you do a month?
They still average about 10 a month.
Toyotas. And Arthur, what kind of cars work for you at your Mercedes dealership? And
I'm in a different situation.
Yeah.
My average contract size is about 15, 20 grand, but you always get the person that comes in and wants the $100,000 S-Class. So I don't say no to them. I tell them, congratulations, I got you approved on the S-Class with 50,000 down. And they're like, 50,000? I don't have 50,000. So instead of me asking them how much they have down, I'll go back and say, how close can you come to 50,000? They may have told my salesperson 1,000. Now, I have 3,000 or 4,000. Then we'll find something that works for them. But we sold anywhere from $9,000 cars to I put a $65,000 car through credit acceptance.
did you really?
So yes, so it just depends.
Do you remember the down payment on the
It's probably
$65,000?
gonna be 20, 25 grand.
Yeah. But you still did it.
Oh, yeah. Because you're not saying no.
Right.
One of the misconceptions of credit acceptance with dealers is that you can't make any money. But I've had a lot of deals that made $6,000 on.
Yeah.
That's 4,000 is just average. But you can make money with credit acceptance on the front. I'm talking about the back, on the front.
And the odd thing about that, just to elaborate, is that sometimes you may only have a $2,000 spread between your actual cost and what the sales price is the vehicle, but your profit may be for it. And you're like, how does that math work? But we quit trying to question. You just got to sit there and play with the system until the numbers work in where you want it to be, and that dictates pretty much what you tell the customer how much down it's going to be, and all the answers to their questions. So, but one of the things we never do is ask what how much puts him in a high-end vehicle, the one he really loves and wants, and tells him he's gonna have 30 grand down, and he falls on the floor, of course. But one thing that does for you, it tells you real quick when you step down to the next vehicle down that maybe he can't afford, you find out exactly how much money he really does have. He may say he had 1,000, now he's got 4. You know, when you ask for 30, you're gonna find out the truth real quick, how much money he's really got. So, and that's why, to me, you never ask for, you know, how much money down you got.
Right.
I don't wanna know. Not, you know, I don't wanna know the lie, you know, I mean, it's not what you're looking for. But
That brings up a good point that Mr. Graham, what are you guys seeing as average initial profits? I mean, I know they're all over the board, but Mr. Graham, you kind of brought it up that people
You
say.
can probably average across the board, $2,800, $3,000 across the
yeah,
board.
that's about what we are.
We just did the math, it was 2750
For the last year.
What do you attribute that to?
CAC,
Okay. Well, I mean, I have a lot of other dealers that tell me, you know, it's hard for them to even find $1,000 deals sometimes when they're,
well, I guess the secret to, there are no secrets, but is you got to buy right. Now, you know, the auction, and I've said it before, I'll bid on 100 cars and buy 10, but I'm not gonna pay over average book for anything. So, you know, you gotta buy right. That's the key. You know, and if you got one you pay this much for, and when you pay this much for, you're gonna make more money on this one and that's just the key, to me.
Yeah, I would agree.
y'all are all in agreement with that?
It's half inventory and half down payment.
Well,
Here's one thing is that because I'm in a bigger franchise, I don't have control over one of my cars. My dealership relies on trades mainly. And because he has 5 stores, he figures, you know, we have enough trades between the 5 stores to do what we need to do. But I also have to deal with a lot of overhead packs and, you know, servicing and things like that to my vehicles, so I do have a lot of costs in mind. I don't necessarily need to make that profit in the front, even though my dealership is a very high gross dealership. With my department, I can take a negative deal in the front because they know if I get to that pool in a good amount of time, that they will make their profit back. And that's what they look at. They want to see that residual coming in on a regular basis. So you don't necessarily always have to have that profit. I know the smaller dealerships do, but with bigger franchises and like that, they don't necessarily always need that upfront.
Anita, you bring up a good point, because that's actually a conversation I have with a lot of franchise dealers. They struggle with putting a deal together on step 4 because they have a large pack. Arthur, do you have that happen at your dealership, and how do you deal with
very,
it?
very large pack. But I don't struggle with it because, again, I guess if you structure the deal right and you have a car that they want and you're not making any money, you can always, you know, after you show them the car that tell them $50,000 down, you can show them a couple different cars and always show the car first that you're gonna make the most money on, and let them say no to that, then you go to the next one. So we always try to make profit. You know, we know we're gonna get pulled in the back end, but we're still here to make profit in the front end as well.
So you don't take pack out of your CAC deals?
No, it's still in there.
Okay.
And he has a private jet to pay for.
A private jet to pay for?
I think maximizing, you know, things like buying a car right, everything like that is important, but the other piece of that, you know, from CAC side is making sure you do the other things that are gonna increase your deal rating, because that's more money up front for you when you increase that deal rating. So if you can get to a 1 or hover in that area, then you're making extra money, you know, because you got more ACH saturation and putting GPSs on, making your pool perform better. So those kind of things will all mean more money to you, you know, down the road and upfront profit.
I'm kind of hearing a common theme that all of y'all are big picture focused.
Gotta be, I think, otherwise you wouldn't even go for the program.